TJ, the Wheel Dough coming at you live. It is Thursday, July the 24th, 9:16 a.m. Central Time, Texas time. We got a little rolling to do. We're 22 days to expiration on a couple of options that I haven't already dealt with, if you will. So we're going to look at them and we're just going to talk it through. We're going to talk it through, and then it's going to be a nice episode today because I'm going to go over all of the positions, and I'm going to tell y'all whether or not it's a campaign or a cash grab. Not every position I'm trying to be in for the next 3 to 5 years. Some positions I'm just trying to make money. That's it. It's cash grab. Zero interest in the stock. I'm just playing price wars. I'm just in a range, right? Like someone to put over here, someone to call over there, and widen, expand, eventually write it out to 21 days, 14 days, whatever, make money, move on to the next one. There's other tickers like the SoFis of the world, the Riots of the world, the Teslas, the TSLLs. And you're going to see those in the portfolio over and over and over again. Those are campaigns. I'm expecting that there'll be core positions in the portfolio unless something breaks in the investment thesis, Amazon, Google, etc. Right? But not every position is that. Not every stock's marriage material, if you will. Some are just really nice, tasty flings. You gotta categorize them and leave them in that basket. Don't try to make everything a wife. Not every girl that this is give y'all something y'all can relate to. Not every woman that was part of your life, if you're a man, was wife material. It is what it is. Just like for them, you weren't husband material. You know what I mean? So that's the way that I look at these stocks as well. So anyway, what's going on, Henry? Man, we're actually trying to get over to Miami. Are you coming to San Antonio? I guess you don't really have a reason to come to San Antonio. But anyway, this is my old friend Henry. I met him through my late brother Greg. Good dude. Just one of the most positive people that I've ever met. One of the most positive people I've ever met. It's hard to have a bad day when you're hanging with Henry. What's going on, SJ? What's going on, Mike D? I sold at 322. 27 calls on Tesla, 96. Nice, man. Good for you. Good for you. What's up, Monk? I hope you're doing well this morning. I am doing well. I have issues with my mouth. One of my crowns fell off yesterday. So got to go over to the dentist, and then they're doing the crown on my implant all within the next couple of weeks. So I'm just going to have both of those crowns, one put back on and the other one they have to do the little deal, however they do it over there. And then they'll shove it in there and glue it or whatever the hell they do. And I'll be 100%. So I won't have the big old window over here from my implant because there's like a screw sticking out of my mouth right now. It's crazy. And then the other one is like I guess where they nub the tooth down to put the crown in. It's just like I got like a freaking nub over here. It's just what a shit show. What a shit show. So anyway, I'm excited about getting, my mouth back in order, if you will, and working order. Good morning, y'all. Just added a few hundred shares of TSOL. Very cool. Made some trades today. I made a few in some of the accounts. Anyway, let's get into it. I'll do that later. I'm going to put the stream up there in case if anybody wants to join in. We could kind of turn this into a mini episode of Wheelers, live Q&A, that kind of thing. So anyway, let me start by showing what's going on with the portfolios. So hopefully you guys can see that. I believe y'all can. I got the TV in the background. I'm just waiting for it to auto-populate over there to make sure that we are on the same page, and we are. Okay, super. So let's start with it. We're gonna take it from the top. We're gonna go on account ending in 01. So what do we got going on? P&L for the day, no bueno at negative 3,900. Year to date is doing pretty good at 187,000 to the good. Options buying power and stock buying power. So this is on the very top of the page. So why are those the same? It's because this is account is well over $175,000 and we utilize portfolio margin. That is why those numbers are the same. Whereas on the bottom, the account ending in 47 is not above 175,000, so it doesn't qualify for portfolio margin. That's why there's that discrepancy between options buying power and stock buying power. So we stay at the top. We have options buying power 153,471. We have the delta 183 positive. The theta is 4,013. What does that mean? In a nutshell, that is how much data this portfolio is collecting on a daily basis, all things remaining equal. All the share prices and the options remaining equal, the implied volatility remaining equal, the row, all the stuff, everything's remaining equal. That's how much money is transitioning over from the extrinsic value, which is 288,000, which would go over to the net liquidation value. This account's approaching 700,000. And if you look at the balance of the cash, there's 993,000. Another way to look at it is if you add the extrinsic value to the net liquidation value, that kind of always adds up to the cash balance. So that's the expected net liquidation value if in a perfect world, all of the options were to expire worthless. That's kind of like a macro outlook on the portfolios. Buying power usage is 548K or 78%. That's a little high. I like to have all of these under 75% personally. Even under 60% is great, so that you can handle that volatility spike. Because whenever you're using a lot of buying power, guys, and if there's a spike on implied volatility, black swan event, Trump and Elon start feuding, Russia, Putin gets angry at Trump because Trump's like tired of his bullshit or whatever it is, some geopolitical issue. You need to have enough buying power to be able to withstand that. And right here on some of these portfolios, a little close for comfort. That being said, I also know that I could scale back these positions in a heartbeat. You know, I could take 50 contracts of Hood off the table. I could take, a winning trade like PayPal off the table and free up $55,000 in capital requirement. So there's moves that I can make to get to that 65% range really, really quickly. And whenever I'm looking at these portfolios on a daily basis, those are the things that I'm looking at. I'm like, okay, if shit hits the fan, what would I do? ABC, 1, 2, 3. What would I do? That way it's very robotic, it's very mechanical, and I'm not all up in my feelings. I'm not like trying to control my blood pressure and, oh my God, acting all paranoid and stuff, right? So everything is kind of like premeditated, if you will. So that is what's going on with this portfolio. Now let's look at it a little bit closer. Palantir, what's going on? Palantir, this is short strangle. This is where you have an agreement to sell, to buy options at a certain price, or to buy shares at a certain price, and to sell shares at a certain price. So, and Robinhood, we would say that we have a cash secure put at 130 and we have a covered call at 170. The issue here is we don't own the shares, so this is all naked, right? So this is all just based on our buying power. So we got to make sure that we manage our bankroll accordingly. You don't want to overload the donkey, because if everything were to go in the money, kind of like the way Enphase is in the money, we'll talk about that in a second, you could be in a lot of trouble, right? So you got to keep that in mind. And also, since all of these are technically naked calls on the short strangles, the calls are also naked. You could blow up your account if all of these stocks were to go up, 25% overnight or something like that. So, you got to understand all the gimmies and the gotchas. So this is what I call a sweet spot trade. We win if Palantir stays within the sweet spot. What's the sweet spot? The space between two strikes. So 130 and 170 is the sweet spot. 130.01 and 169.99, that is the sweet spot. And if that happens 57 days from now, we will have realized the $65,000, $65,500 in extrinsic value. That would go over to the net liquidation value. So since this account is sitting at about 700,000, then that would bump it up 765,000. And that's how you look at it. Enphase, this one's not going in our favor right now, right? So we have 40 and 45, but I want to keep on Palantir for a second because there's other things I want to talk to y'all about. So the days open, days to expiration, earnings, probability of profit, That's just, it's based on just like where's the share price at, or where's the stock prices, and it gives you, that simple little metric. But that's not really what I want to talk about here. What I want to talk about here is the deltas. If you go to the far right, you're going to see the delta at 19 on the put and 39 on the call. So we're short delta because if Palantir goes up, the position's losing money. If Palantir goes down, the position's gaining money. So that is what we want to look at. So we're looking at here the stock, the price. The current share price is closer to our short call price than it is from our short put price. So we're not really delta neutral here, if you will. So how could I get delta neutral? Well, I could simply roll up the put. The issue is I'm not very comfortable with that strike price. So that's where it gets tough. This is where selling strangles gets tough, is on paper, I should just roll the short put, bring in more credits, take pressure off of the position. But then now I find myself in a situation where I don't have no interest, zero, less than zero interest in owning any shares of Palantir at $130. So I don't even want to position myself for that. So I'm just going to gut it out. As long as the buying power is there, which it's a little bit healthier here because we have $150,000 to work with, I'm just going to gut it out. I'm going to gut it out. I want to stay in this trade for another 30 days or so and keep rolling and expanding. Whenever I can sit on maybe like 180, 185 on the call. And then if Palantir is still matriculating up, then I'll be like, okay, well, maybe it is time to roll that short put up to 135, 140, because now we would be on the other side of earnings. We'll have more answers to the test. The investment thesis is intact, etc. Then I could potentially get a little bit more comfortable. In phase 40 and 45, obviously we're in the money by, $3.66 right now on the short put. So this is an obligation to buy 2,500 shares of Enphase at $40, 57 days from now, if it stayed at these prices. So we obviously have to look at the cash. Can we afford that? Obviously the answer is yes. There's almost $1 million in cash turn and we have the buying power. All right. So we're good. We're able to do that. We are able to do that. No problem. And then we just immediately start selling cover calls. Now, the beautiful thing about the short strangle is this $40 short put cannot be in the money at the same time that the 45 naked call would be in the money. So eventually we're going to win the trade on the short call, and that goes to lowering our adjusted cost basis. So it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Hood, this one had really gone against us, and now it's kind of starting to turn around. So we're 95 on the put, 135 on the call. I go all the way to the right-hand side, and I see that the delta is 36 on the put and negative 18 on the call. So we have a long delta there of 18. So because our delta is higher on the short put, it's more advantageous for us for Hood to go up versus down on this particular portfolio. So I like this position. I like this position because after 3 or 4 more rolls, we'll be able to get down to like probably 85 or 80 on the short put and stay at like 135, maybe lower that down to like 125. And we'll be able to ride this out to the end at some point and realize all of that extrinsic value. So right now, Palantir is the big winner in the portfolio, but the way that I see it playing out, even though that we're down on Hood, I can already see the writing on the walls. Hood's going to be the biggest winner in this particular portfolio. It's just a matter of time. PayPal, 70 and 85. I just rolled this one today. If you look at the order chain, it'll show you right here. Just rolled it today. It was at 67.50 and 82.50. I rolled the put up from 67.50 to 70 and rolled the call up from 82.50 to 85. Looks like PayPal finally had some good news, so we'll see. I just a lot more comfortable with an $85 ceiling on PayPal, and eventually want to get that up to 100. And we will be good to go. Amazon, and these are all, those are all 57 days out. Amazon is 120 days out, and NVIDIA is 120 days out. There's really nothing to see here, dude. 215 and 245. It's trading right at 230. Nothing to see there. 19,000 in extrinsic value. And NVIDIA is 150 and 180. It's at 172. So obviously it's a little bit closer to the strike price on the short call. And that is why we have 47 deltas over there and only 24 deltas on the short put. So that's what's going on with that one. Now let's look at account ending in 33. I got a text message over here. So let's see what's going on. So anyway, let's keep it going. We got Palantir. These are all 57 days out already. So Palantir is sitting comfortably at 130 and 180. There's 53,600. This could be the cycle that I'm like, hey, let's try to go get all that money. Let's try to go get all that money. Hood, 95 and 125. See if that 95 holds up. I don't think that 125 is going to get breached, but we'll see if that 95 holds up. So I could see me having to be in this one for 2 or 3 more cycles and then eventually having like an 85 or an 80 handle, because I think probably 75 is like the new floor on Hood. So probably about 2 or 3 rolls away from being able to widen it and expand it to be comfortable. And we could legit ride out to an expiration or pretty close, 14 days to expiration, capture as much of that extrinsic value as possible and log a nice win. PayPal, 70 and 85. Feel pretty good about it. Again, we want to roll and expand. We're just getting started with PayPal. This is a trade that we want to be in for a hot minute. And I can eventually see this one at like 90 and 120 or something, right? 6 months down the road. And we go ahead and capture all that extrinsic value that's left on the option at that point. SoFi, this one's very comfortable. 17 and 27, 57 days out is very comfortable. It's not a big position, but they're still, $2,500 is $2,500. And then the year to date is negative on SoFi because this account had been transferred over from Robinhood. So we brought in some negative year to date action with SoFi, and we like to remedy that by the end of the year. I'll save the big account for last. Let's go to account ending in 20. So what's going on with this account? Why is it getting hammered? Let's look. So Palantir is up for the day. So that part's good. Profit and loss for the day is negative. Why? It tells me that we have a higher delta on the short call versus the short put. So it's 19 delta if you go to the far right on the short put and 39 delta on the short call. So we have short delta on the position. So if Palantir goes up, no good for the account. Palantir goes down, better for this particular position. And 130 and 170, though, feels pretty good. 57 days from now, I could totally see Palantir staying in that particular range right there. And we could potentially realize 132,000 of those dollars or close to it. And this is about a $900,000 account. So this would put the account over $1 million. In phase 30 and 45, feel pretty good about it. 19 and 22, very, very delta neutral. 57 days from now, I do feel like in phase will be at those levels. There's definitely, after the earnings a couple of days ago, there's not really a catalyst to push it to 100 right now. And I think it's kind of giving you all the bad news. It's all baked into the cake already. So I think probably 33, maybe 30, if there's like a wider pullback, market wide, I could see it going to 30, but I really doubt that's going to happen either. Hood, 90 and 125. I feel much better about this one at 90 because the other ones had them at 95, right? This one, I feel real good about it, and it's delta neutral, 28 and 25. Nothing to see there. I think this could potentially happen, and we could realize all of that premium and call life good. PayPal, 70 and 85. I feel pretty good about it. And then SoFi is just an $18 put. Just an $18 put. We don't even have calls on this thing. So this is something that I could consider, but I want SoFi to get to at least $22 or so, 52-week high, something over $22. And then I'll put the calls out there, probably match it in January just because I got OCD like that. And, I'll probably put them in like 30, something like that. I mean, I can just play with the idea to see what that looks like now. If I go trade, I want to go match. I'd be outside of the expected move. So something like that. That's a 29 delta. This is a 26 delta. That would be very delta neutral. I like that. And it would be 400 contracts. Let's see what that would do to the buying power. Could we even handle that, first of all? Yeah, it increases the buying power quite a bit. It's a nice chunk of money, $53,000. But I like to get more like 60 to 65, for taking on that risk. Because now you go from an easy street position to one that could potentially cause a little bit of stress down the road. So I'd just like to get paid a little bit more money for the risk. Let's look at the little account. This is my son's account. We got in phase. 10 strangles, 33 and 46, 22 days from now. I just put this one on. A day ago. And Phase has been a very profitable campaign, $4,000 year to date. This is a, $88,000 account right now, $89,000. Trying to get it up to 100. So we have 1,060 in extrinsic value. These are all 22 days out. Hood is 95 and 120. So we look at it. So here on end phase, we have 25 delta and we have 8 delta. So we definitely, it's beneficial for us if end phase goes up in value, not down in value, because we're a lot further away from the $46 strike than we are the $33 strike. Hood is 95, that's 33 delta, and 120 is a 20 delta. So I feel pretty good about this one. It's $15,000 also. This is what can get us over the hump, right? This get us over the $100,000 mark, and then I have 50 short strangles on SoFi at 18 and 25. These are 22 days out. I'm not looking to roll anything because I want to get the account to 100 grand. So you got to stay in the fire and try to get there. So I'm going to try to at least get all the way to 15 days to expiration before I do anything with this particular account. And we have plenty of buying power, right? Because we're only at 56% usage. So I feel like things are going to get more volatile. We're going to deal with the gamma and all that other shit as we get closer, down the road to expiration. So this is kind of like my experiment to see, well, just how much does the buying power get affected whenever you get closer to expiration. So that is why I'm willing to do that. And then now we have the large account. So I'll talk about this one, but before we do that, I want to minimize and I want to see if there's any Q&A that I can tackle, and also if Option joined the stream, because I had sent him the invite, but I guess nothing. So anyway, where are we at here? Investors Net. Good morning, y'all. I just loaded up a few hundred shares of USO. Okay. Good morning, RS14. Hey, TJ, like working. Can you go over with options trading with margin in more detail? Thank you. Do you consider contango when holding leverage ETFs long term? Whenever I buy, I get assigned leverage ETFs without an aggressive call immediately. Also, I get them when they are at a good price. Manish, what's going on, bud? TJ, can't pay any lights. I just want to say thanks for what you do. AMD, man, reposted the screen. Right on. Appreciate you. What's going on, Mr. G? Good morning, Giorgio Ronaldo. Anyway, so let's get into the large account. This is the account that lots of margin calls today, not for us. So thankfully not for us. We don't do anything too stupid on the channel. One thing that I'm really good at, guys, is managing the bankroll. I'm just good at doing that. So anyway, let's get into this one's a lot. This one's a lot. So what we're going to do is we're going to take one at a time, because we have 22 days to expiration right here. And I'm going to go ahead and just look to roll these, because these are all marriage material. Palantir, Hood, Apple, these are campaigns, guys. I'm trying to make, $1 million on Palantir, $500,000 on Hood, and at least $250,000 on Apple before I would move on from those tickers. So you're going to see these in the portfolio over and over and over again. So let's talk about Palantir. What's going on Palantir? 130 and 155. Obviously, the 155 is pretty close to comfort, right? Pretty close to comfort, practically at the money. There's 322 days, or there's $322,000 of extrinsic value on the option. Profit and loss for the day is good at 6,500, but on this particular campaign, since we started this set of options, because we've already logged a nice money, profit and loss year to date on Palantir is 362,000, trying to get to at least 500,000, possibly even 1 million. So I want to keep this on the books indefinitely. We're currently 22 days to expiration. We have earnings on 8/4. So the chances of expiring out of the money on the put is 81%. The chances of expiring out of the money is 54%. So market's telling me this thing probably wants to go up, right? Just looking at those percentages there. And again, this is based on where Palantir is trading right this second. Excuse me, people keep blowing up my phone. Excuse me. So anyway, so we have a 15 delta on the put and 52 delta on the call. So we definitely got to address this. We got to address this. So let's talk about the ways to address it. Let's say that I was like, I just want to stay in this expiration date. I got plenty of credits because we can go to the order chain and you guys can see on the very top, shitload of credits to work with. So I was like, well, why don't we look at just giving some of those credits back and readjust the goalposts? That's an option. So how could I do that? I could simply roll. I could roll the entire position up. Like if we just wanted to stay in this expiration cycle, look how big that the expected move is. That's crazy, right? So I could go say 155 to 160. Lower that delta, that takes me to a 45 delta. It's a little bit better than a coin flip. And then to help finance that, I could go from like say 130 to 140. And now we're actually doing that for a small credit. So that's one thing that we could do. If we wanted to stay in the fire, we could just reposition our goalpost, if you will, because it's like a goalpost, right? You have the put and the call, and you're just trying for the football to go right down the middle, if you will, just to give you all like a little visual. So that's one thing that we could do, but we don't want to do that. We don't want to do that because I just don't want to do that. I want to collect a shitload of money, reposition. I'm trying to be in this thing for a while, and I don't want to get too close to expiration because that's whenever things get a lot more volatile and winners turn into losers, right? And you can see this profit and loss year to date just go down and down and down. So I don't want to do that. So this is the easier thing to do. Just roll the damn thing out to the 57-day cycle. I'm still comfortable at 130, and because I'm on the lower end of the expected move, and you can also see that the expected move got a lot smaller in the distance. And then I'll be like, okay, you win, Palantir. Let's give you more room to the upside because this thing's been crazy. So now we're at 20 delta on the put. We're at 48 delta on the call. We're picking up $372. But if we want more room to the upside, we could look at maybe 165. And that still brings in a pretty good amount of credits, and it takes us to a 43 delta. So that is something that we widen the goalposts, and then we just kind of let it play out. If Palantir wants to keep going up, well, then we can be like, okay, well, then now later on, we can maybe go from 130, 135, 140 on the put. But right now, I like to stay wide. I can always squeeze the stock. I can always by rolling up the untested side. So in this case, the untested side is the short put. So this gets me a little bit close to delta neutral. It doesn't really quite do the job. How can I get to delta neutral? Is forget about the credits and just get it done or I could maybe go like right here and then go like right there. You get a very, very small credit. But now I'm pretty delta neutral because I'm 24 on the put, 34 on the call. So whenever you've made the money that you want to make on the campaign, now you just really want to reposition yourself to ultimately manufacture the win down the road. That would be the appropriate move. But I don't want to do that because I want to get credits. I want to get credits, and I don't mind being in the fire. I don't mind being in the fire. I don't mind being in the pressure because pressure makes diamonds, right? That's where we're diamond hands around here. So I'm going to roll this guy over here. I'm going to leave that strike right where it is because that's comfortable for me. And we're just going to go one tick up. We're going to go one tick up because I'm going to play Palantir to a little bit of a move to the downside. I just think that this thing has just been sanguine for way too long. And at some point, there has to be a fucking pullback. So I'm going to play for that. And if I'm wrong, well, then I'll make the adjustments accordingly. But I'm greedy and I'm going to go after those credits. There's plenty of buying power here, over almost $6.5 million. So I can handle it. I can handle the swing. I can handle we're going to put another $500,000 here because we don't like this position from Tasty Trader or the algorithm doesn't like this play. And that's okay. I like to play, and that's what matters to me. So I want to go after the money. I could be a little bit more responsible and go over here, but I don't like those credits. I want those credits. You know what I'm saying? I want those credits because I want to collect more credits. Why? So that I could be able to roll up the untested side. And then down the road, if I want to roll from 160 to 165, 170, I'll be happy to do so for debits. It's all good because I'm being greedy, and that's okay. So that's the way that I'm going to play it. Again, everybody's the CEO of their portfolio. You got to do what you got to do. This is the way I'm going to do it, and then I'm going to try to get it filled right here for you guys. I'm going to try to get it filled at 350. So we're bringing in 87,000 in credits, and we're increasing our buying power. Let's go. And there we go. So then now I look at the order chain. And you're going to see it that we now got more credits, right? We just rolled right here, top right, 948. And 948, we did this. So we were at 130 and 155. We stayed at 130 on the put. And now we're at 160 on the call. And we got in a shitload of credits. So now if I go back to the position, you're going to see that the extrinsic value has gone up quite a bit. The extrinsic value has gone up quite a bit. So Palantir is right over here. So now the extrinsic value is at 414. So now I feel better about it. A little bit wider, 130 on the put, 160 on the call, 19 delta on the put, 49 delta on the call. So what would be good for us if Palantir went to like $150? That would be really, really good for us. But, again, there's 57 days out. So why is it important to have so much time on the clock? Because then you minimize the risk of early assignment. That's the bottom line. So if Palantir were to like spike down, you don't really have to worry about these shares getting put on you overnight. And if Palantir were to shoot up to like 165 overnight, which is very unlikely, but it could happen with Palantir, right? Could happen. You don't have to worry about, oh shit, they're gonna exercise, they're gonna sign me in, they're gonna take all this money from us, and we're gonna buy the shares at 165 to turn around and sell them at 160 or something like that, right? Because our obligation is to sell the shares at 160. The problem is we don't own the shares. So right now, what could you do to take all the pressure off the portfolio on this position? You could buy 250 calls. Cost a lot of money, but you could do that, and you turn that part into a call credit spread. That's one thing that you can do. Another thing that you can do, it's a very expensive option, but it's there, is you can buy 25,000 shares of Palantir. That's another option. Costs a shitload of money, though, right? So we're talking about 25,000 shares of Palantir at 154. It cost a good chunk. It cost a good chunk of money. So that's definitely not one that we want to pursue. So you just gotta be mindful of all that stuff. Let's keep it going. Hood. What's going on with Hood? 95 and 120. See, this is where it's tempting. This is where it's tempting to do nothing because you're pretty comfortable with where you're at. But because this is a campaign, this isn't just wham bam, thank you, ma'am. This is something that I want in the portfolio for the foreseeable future. So I'm like, well, let me just bring in more credits and get more comfortable. Because 95 and 120 for this cycle is actually quite comfortable. But what would be more comfortable? Let's look. Let's go look at the 57-day cycle. What would be more comfortable? And look at that expected move. More comfortable is going over here. That's more comfortable. That's more comfortable. And then now I got 28 on the put, the delta, 31 delta on the call, pretty delta neutral, picking up a shitload of credits, getting more comfortable because I feel like there's more risk to the downside than the upside on Hood at these particular levels. And it's the same strategy. It's the same thesis that I have with Palantir. I feel like there's more risk to the downside than there is to the upside. So I don't feel the need to increase my strike price on the call on Hood, but I do feel the need to decrease the strike on the put. Now I could get more responsible and go over here to 85. And that picks up quite a bit of credits as well. But I don't want to do that. Again, I'm greedy. So I want to go here. And if it doesn't work out, I can always adjust after. So let's see if I can get it filled right there. And this is a nice one, right? Pick up $178,000 in credit and increases our buying power. So the algorithm likes what we're doing here because we're taking risk off the table, right? Because instead of an obligation to buy Hood at 95, now we have an obligation to buy it at 90. And we can keep lowering it, lowering it, lowering it. In a perfect world, Robinhood tanks. And then I start moving the strikes down on the puts, making all this money on the short calls. And now our obligation down the road could be buy a Hood at 75, 70, 65. If we were to tank that much, now I'm excited because I'm like, shit, maybe now I want to actually own the shares. So anyway, let's see what happens. Let's send it. See what happens. Nothing. Not yet, right? So I'm just trying to get these filled, guys. So I'm sacrificing a little bit of money by doing this for you guys here live because I could get more money just by waiting it out. Let me see. This is the least I'll take, though. So I got to let this one cook. There, that worked out. We got it done. And that's a big sacrifice. So I feel like I could have definitely gotten more money. I would have just waited. But this is why a lot of people don't do this live because they don't want to sacrifice that money to show you guys the real life action, if you will. So this is how we were looking, right? We're at 95. Again, I'm looking at the order chain on the right-hand side to the top, towards the top. So we went from 95 to 120. We went from 95 to 90. Everything else stayed the same. We just pushed the contract out to the right, essentially about 30 days because we had 22 days to expiration. Now we have 57 days to expiration. So about 20, what is that? 30 days, a little over 30 days, 35 days, something like that. And that's it. That's all we did. And we collected a shitload of money for doing so. And now we feel a little bit better overall. So now let's talk about one more position, and that is expiring in this 22-day cycle, and that is Apple. And we're sitting pretty comfortable on Apple, right? 11 on the delta on the put, short 18 deltas on the call. So a pretty delta neutral position overall. And this thing's just steady printing money, guys. So this is where it gets tempting to just do nothing. But we just started with Apple. Because if you look at the order chain, there's not a lot to look at. Because we started with 150 contracts, 100 contracts, and then we added 150 contracts, and that's where we stay this is where we're at right now. So, and then we added an additional, so we're at 500 contracts now. But I want to make $500,000 with Apple. 250,000 for sure, $500,000, maybe even $1 million if the getting's good. I know the premiums aren't the best, but it's also a sleep easy trade. It's a sleep well at night, a swan, right? So I'm like, okay, well, let's try to make it more comfortable. What can we do to make it more comfortable in the 57-day cycle? So I go to the 57-day cycle, and I'm like, well, I'm already at the expected move on both of these. So what can I do to get even more comfortable? I could go from 230 to 235. That's something that I could do. And that right there feels very, very comfortable. I'll take this down a little bit just to try to get it filled for you guys. Brings in another 119,000, nothing to sneeze at. And then we're going to let it cook. We're going to let it cook because it's a lot of money, right? It's 500 contracts, guys. So every time I tick down, it's on on both sides, right? So it's an extra $1,000 that I could be trying to get. So we'll see. I'm gonna let it cook right there, see what happens. We'll move on to other ones. If not, I'll go tick it down and get try to get it filled. So then now we're sitting pretty good. We got Palantir 130 and 160, 57 days out. We got Hood 90 and 120, 57 days out. Feel good about it. Amazon 220 and 250, 32 and 26 on the deltas are pretty delta neutral. So all of these right here, these are all campaigns. NVIDIA's campaign, 57 days out, 145, 190, not quite delta neutral because we got 13 on the put, 30 on the call. So ideally, we probably want to move the strike price on the put up, but I don't want to do that. The buying power is not hurting. So I'd rather stay comfortable than delta neutral, if that makes sense. PayPal 65 and 85. I feel great about it. I feel absolutely great about it. In fact, this is one here where it does make sense to me to roll the strike up just on the put because I'm super comfortable with PayPal. So I'm like, well, let me go get some more money. Let me go get some more money, bring in another $37,000 for our trouble because I'm very, very comfortable at that strike price with PayPal. So why not get compensated for that? And then it also gets me closer to being delta neutral. Google just had earnings yesterday. We had already rolled yesterday. We're sitting not very comfortable, but okay, at 175 on the put, 205 on the call, 18 delta on the put, 32 delta on the call. It's not bad. It's not horrible. I feel a little bit more comfortable when this thing's sitting at like 220, 225. Then that's when I can be like, hey, we could go after this thing. We could legit go after this thing. All of these are campaigns, guys. I want to keep them on the books for the foreseeable future. HIMS, this is a trade. This is a trade. I was trying to get to $50,000. I did that. Now I put the trade on again. HIM squeezed a little bit yesterday. So, it cost us a little bit of money. That's why you see the P&L open negative right there on this new trade. But I want to go grab that money. There's 44,000 of extrinsic value on this thing that's going to help us out. Yeah, the 44 to the 44, it puts it like 88, 89,000. I want to get $100,000 bill on HIMS and move on. I want to move on after that. Shopify, this is a brand new campaign. I feel good about it. We just started this campaign a couple of days ago. And you can see the order chain. There's nothing to look at. There's nothing to look at because it was just 50 contracts and then 50 contracts, and that put us at 100 contracts. So this is brand new position, guys. So we're sitting at 95 and 165. I started this position comfortably. I didn't go after all the credits. I wanted comfort. I wanted comfort, and I wanted delta neutrality. I was looking for a delta neutral position, comfortable, and that is what we did. So we have 11 delta on the put, 9 delta on the call, so positive delta 0.02 on the position overall. We're already up $3,000 on the position. I like to get to 100 grand, so I want to keep doing this over and over and over again and staying comfortable, making the adjustments as necessary, and kind of go from there. TSLL, this is just the girl that we see because she's available, right? She's just a fling, a very, very tasty fling, but she's not marriage material. So we got 250 puts at 9, and we got 22 calls, and we're up 68% on the short calls. So it feels pretty good. It's not delta neutral, obviously. So one thing that we could do potentially, if we want to get a little bit greedy here, is we can lower our strike price on the call. But I want to let it simmer. I don't want to do that just yet because we do it right now. We just roll the strikes down and say we go to 18 or something like that. I mean, it's not really moving the needle. You know what I mean? So you're taking on more stress, if you will, and it's not really moving the needle. $3,000 isn't really going to do much for us. So I don't want to do anything. I was comfortable at $22. So this was more comfort versus let me go grab as much premium as I can. So I feel good about it. And also, I'd take the shares at $9 on TSOL because I would probably put Tesla at like 275 ish or something like that, maybe even 250. And then I'd feel real good about it. So I don't have to do anything since I already have this in play. I don't have to be like, oh shit, let me go buy TSL right now or anything because I've already got $23,000 in play over here. I've already made $500,000 with TSLL, trying to get to $1 million on TSLL. Microsoft, again, another new play. Been in it for 3 days, and we started pretty wide, 460 and 560. 50 contracts, nothing crazy, but there's $33,000 of meat on the bone. 14 deltas, pretty delta neutral. Riot, we've got more going on Riot. We got a short strangle at 11 and 25, so that's pretty comfortable. But then I also bought 100 leaps. So that's what's going on with Riot. This one will always be in the portfolio. Same with CleanSpark. This is a short strangle, 11 and 18. There's $123,000 of meat on the bone. Already made $425,000 on CleanSpark. All we do is make money with CleanSpark. EOSP is another short strangle that's relatively new. We started at 4 and 6, and now we're on 6 and 8. We're down on the position collectively, but now we're pretty comfortable between 6 and 8. Hopefully, we can ride this thing out a little bit and start collecting some of that extrinsic value so that profit in the last year to date will go positive. NEO, this is a newer position. We had lost some money early on in the year. That's why you see the negative 300,000. But right now we have 1,000 short puts at 4. And then I bought 100 leaps on NEO. So that's what's going on with NEO. NEO dips back to like 450 or whatever. I'll probably like to buy another 100 leaps on NEO. Another thing that I did that I missed, or no, we haven't gotten to it yet. Okay, super. United Health. This is another short strangle that I started very comfortable. Very comfortable, very wide. I didn't go after all of the crazy premiums. So I started with 250 on the puts, and we're down a little bit on those. And then I started with 400 on the calls. So the 400 call is 7 delta. The short put is 22. So it's not really delta neutral, but I'm okay with that because United Health could potentially have a major surge, and I didn't want to be scrambling. So I was like, let me just stay wide. As we get closer to expiration, if I want to go try to gobble more premiums, I can do that. But this is one where I saw a $250,000 bill and I want to go grab it. There's $222,000 left. If you add that to the 16, and then if I just roll down the strike, depending on what the position calls for, as we get closer to expiration, this could be the cycle where I make my $250,000 on United Health and I move on to something else. Enphase. What's going on with Enphase? We just rolled this position yesterday, 35 on the put, 50 on the call. So I think that this could probably play out so we can realize all of that extrinsic value. We're already up $83,000 on Enphase. At one point, we're up over 100,000 yesterday. And then I also was like, hey, I like Enphase at these levels, so let me buy some leaps. And that's what I did. I bought 200 leaps on Enphase at $40, 540 days out, paid a couple $100,000 for those. So now we're not really so naked on the upside there. So I could potentially start getting more aggressive with the short calls on Enphase to bring in some more premiums through the door. Soxel, this is way down the road, 25 and 38, another sweet spot trade. I feel pretty damn good about it. We have a lot of extrinsic value here. By the end of the year, I expected this position to flip from negative 244,000 to like plus 100,000 before it's all said and done. SoFi, 19 and 25. This is a little bit of a lopsided strangle, if you will, because we have more puts than calls, and that's just the way that we're playing it. So we have 5,000 short puts at 19 that are performing pretty good, up 12% or 140 grand. But then we also have 3,000 short calls that aren't performing so well. We're down at 207,000 on those, but I've been selling 2,000 calls as well at 35. Done it for a couple of times, made about $50,000 on those. So if I pumps up over 200, going to do the same. Then I was talking about Tesla. Y'all are surprised I didn't lead out with this one. Why? Because I don't have to, because my short strangle is 329 days from now. Very, very comfortable at 250 on the put, 500 on the call. A cool $174,000 for the day, or 42.5% collectively. Y'all remember one of the days when Tesla was down $1 million? Now we're only down 187. If you add the 517 that we're up on TSOL, we're getting paid on Tesla now. And then if you look at the short put and the short call, the delta is 26 and 25. So we have achieved delta neutral. We're on easy street. We are on easy street with Tesla right now. So these earnings were just noise for us, just absolutely noise for us. I think fair value for Tesla is about 250 right now, and that's being kind of generous. So I'm kind of hoping for a little bit of a pullback, but I'm not going to lower my strike price on the short call. I'm at 60%. And we get to like 75%, I may just consider just taking them off and then waiting for Tesla to pump. And then I can put them back on, possibly at 500, but get paid more for my risk, or maybe even go 525, 550, get very, very, very comfortable. So that's the way that I'm going to look to leg out of that particular position. So if Tesla were to tank to like 250, I look up and I'm at like 70, 75% profit. Maybe I'm only just playing short puts for a little while, because I don't want to bring in another element of risk and go, well, let me lower it to 400 on the call, because it's intoxicating to do that kind of stuff, guys. Because you can just do it right now, just eyeballing it real quickly. Like, it's intoxicating to even go just right here to 400. I mean, look at this money. Look at that money. You don't think that's intoxicating? 302 grand. But look, it reduces your buying power by 322,000. The algorithm doesn't like it. It doesn't like it, because you're going to go from an easy street position at 25 delta to one that's 40 delta. So no, not going to do it. I'd rather just milk this one, have a nice little comfortable range. There's still $938,400 of meat on the bone, and I'm on easy street. So it wants to find itself, it wants to hang out between 280 and 380 for the next 6 months. I'm going to print theta. I'm going to look up, and collectively this position is going to be at 60, 65, 70%. And then now I'll be like, I just want to log the win, or do I want to keep rolling and expanding, take it from June of next year to January the following year, because Elon already said there's going to be some rough quarters, right? So we got there for 3 rough quarters. So maybe just realize a nice win at like 70, 80%, call life good, and then let Tesla go do Tesla things and regroup. And then all the while we're playing with TSOL. So that's, kind of the way that I'm playing Tesla. So quite frankly, earnings on Tesla, they suck. I know for a lot of you guys. For us, it was a big fucking nothing burger. It just was. So anyway, that is everything that we got going on. I hope y'all can appreciate the level of transparency that you only come to find on this particular channel. Let me see if there is anything that I can do here. Mine was only 300 last night. I closed margin. Here we go. I closed my 390 call I sold on Tesla that expires in September, and rather sold a 330 call for 14 days out. Mine was only Will you sell a buttload of SoFi puts if the stock tanks after earnings? Well, I've already got 5,000 of them, so I don't know how many more you want me to sell, my man. Hi, everyone. I'm considering selling my SoFi leaves pre-earnings. Thoughts, guys? Man, you're the CEO of your portfolio. You have to decide what's good for you. For my small account, I have 110 puts, 200 calls, 70 collateral required, and premium. TJ, when will I be hearing from you? Signed up last month for YouTube membership. Reach out, send me a text message. We'll put you in the WhatsApp group. I'll send you the link to the Calendly, and we can do FaceTimes. That's how it works. Sitting 9 to 5. Welcome to Will Donation, by the way. Appreciate you. Hi, everyone. Yo, happy Thursday. Hopefully, y'all are filling your pockets. Do you always roll on the 22nd of 50 days out? No. Sometimes I do it 25 days out. sometimes 21 days out, sometimes 18 days out, 16 days out. Since I started with Tasty Trade, I'm definitely handling everything before 14 days out, though. But if I get wide enough and comfortable enough, and I'm on the other side of an earnings, and the market's kind of chill, right? It's like the calm before the storm. That could be the day that I'm like, well, let's see what it's like to get to 14. That could be the day that let's see what it's like to get to 7. I don't know that we'll ever get to another expiration date, but I do have a goal to get to 7 and just capture all of that extrinsic value and then just kind of like leg out of it. And we'll talk about it. I'm going to put that on some slides for the seminar that I'm going to do on legging in and out of the short strangles. Hey, Pat Boy, why do you roll at 22nd when it's the period when the extrinsic value decreases the most? Real good question, because I'm just trying to keep grabbing the easy theta and I want to stay away from gamma. I'm trying to just not have that kind of volatility in the portfolio. So, whenever you write it out, yes, you extract, right? It's like an hourglass. But the closer you get to expiration, the hourglass opens up and shit falls out real quickly, your data. But it's also the time where winners can turn into losers. You overstay your welcome, right? You're the guest that they're like, yeah, you can hang out at our house for 2 or 3 days, and 2 weeks later, you're still there. Now you're like not the guest, you're annoying. Don't be that guy. So don't overstay your welcome. So it's like if I do this campaign and I roll and I roll and I roll and I roll and I roll, well, eventually in my mind, 21 days to expiration becomes my expiration date. And I already picked up all the easy money and I never had to deal with the pressure of the expiration. Hope that makes a little sense for you. Will not be getting contact for you. I guess I just answered that. It's the same person, right? Yeah. Okay, super. Recently signed up. How do I get the number of the FaceTime call? The number is on YouTube. If you're a member, just click on members only, and there's a comment there, and there send me an email, tjthewheeldeal@gmail.com, and I'll get you all the information. I'm not going to put my phone number here on the screen for everyone. Get us to the group or how to reach out to you. No problem. Hopefully that helped you out, Adam. Morning. Hey, what's going on? Wheeling out Idaho. Anyway, guys, that's all that I have for you guys today. There's my email right there, Adam. tjthewheeldeal@gmail.com. Send me the email. I'll send you the number. I'll screenshot the information and shoot it over to Alex. Alex is the guy that basically runs my channel here, and he'll set you up on the WhatsApp group. I have 2 pages. One's the general chat. The other one's a screenshot where only I post. I post all the screenshots of all the trades right after I make them for the most part. And then after that, you can find those trades on Twitter and all that stuff. Has some subscribers on Twitter now too. So I'm going to be posting those screenshots on the subscribers as well. I forgot that I had done that subscriber thing on Twitter. And then now all of a sudden I got like 3 or 4 subscribers. So I got to make sure to get them the information too. And this is why I don't like doing that kind of stuff, because it like turns into a job for me, right? If that makes sense. But I've got permission from my wife to keep doing this until the end of the year. And then we're going to reassess. We're going to reassess all the FaceTimes and all that stuff, because it does take a lot of time. But I have people that I like. There's people that I do FaceTimes with weekly, right? Because they're at the higher tier, and you build relationships with these people, so you want to keep it going. What happened to the Wednesday night wheelers? Definitely looking to bring that back, but only once or twice a month. Mr. Premium. My wife doesn't like me doing YouTube at night. She doesn't like me doing YouTube, period, just to be frank with you guys. But she definitely at night, it's like our Netflix and chill. It's, it's date night. It's all those things. And we're also considering being parents right now. We're going through that process. So she doesn't want me to get into the habit of doing YouTube at night whenever that's going to like really be like strictly family time. So she wants me to cut FaceTimes at 3 p.m. when the market closes. Like, these are things that she wants to do. And then she'll give me like one Saturday and Sunday a month to lock in a lot of FaceTimes for people that aren't able to do it during those hours. So we talk about it a lot as a family. So that's what's going on with that. Anyway, man, I got to get rocking and rolling. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Adam, make sure to reach out, my man. I'll look out for my email. and I will definitely take care of you. Appreciate you. Welcome to Will Joe Nation. TJ, the Will Joe signing off. As always, Mary Sky, stay blue, stock screen. Peace out. God bless you guys. Oh, I got something filled.